Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Friday Night Smackdown review. And tonight's Smackdown was from the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia. And tonight's Smackdown, this show sucked. This show was so fucking boring, in my opinion. It was just a shitty show tonight. And there was, only like I would say two good things that I liked about tonight's show, and that was the NXT invasion from like the Undisputed Era and the NXT woman, and of course the Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt stuff. Other than that, the New Day vs. the Revival rematch for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. That was pretty okay, but the rest, very meh, did not even care for. But let's get on with the SmackDown review. So SmackDown opened up tonight with, just like last week, this guy started off. Start off with King Baron Corbin. King Baron Corbin. So he came out. He was being carried to the ring by these men. He was sitting on a throne. These men were carrying the throne with Corbin on it. And they end up bringing him down. They sit the throne or the platform down at ringside. Corbin ends up getting up, raising his scepter, and he goes into the ring. Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler are in there, and the crowd boos for Corbin. Of course, this is a guy who we don't want to see on TV. We're getting sick and tired of seeing Corbin on fucking TV. So a crowd starts chanting, "You suck." And Corbin ends up getting on the mic. And he says that the crowd needs to pay respects to their king. And Corbin goes on about being, king. Starts talking about Roman. He ends up calling Roman a shell of what he once was. Corbin goes on to say that this is no longer Roman's yard. It is Corbin's kingdom. So Corbin ends up talking about how he should be the team captain at Survivor Series. So he ends up showing a graphic that's on the other Titantron. It shows, the team SmackDown, team for Survivor Series. So Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode talk about how they're taking their rightful spots on Team SmackDown by beating Chad Gable and Mustafa Ali, which they had the match after this segment. And Corbin says that he is inviting Roman to the ring for this historic moment. Corbin says if they're teammates, then they should all be able to coexist in the ring. Corbin then asks the crowd, if they want to see Roman. The crowd cheers, and they do. So then Roman's music ends up hitting. And you know how they had that little dog, that image that was on the Titantron from last week when Corbin did his boring-ass segment promo last week. And even this week, this whole opening was fucking shit. Did not even care what was going on in this segment. So Roman's music ended up hitting, and the dog, the dog that they have when Roman comes out, starts barking like a chihuahua, like a chihuahua, bark. So it was just like last week. I'm like, this is WWE, copy and paste in. They copied what they had from last week in the opening to SmackDown from last week, where they did the whole, dog and that Chihuahua sound for Roman's, dog thing on the Titantron, and they just took it and put it here for this week once again. Yeah, so original. This is good shit. No, it's not. So the Chihuahua was, the Chihuahua sound was, the dog was yelping. It was so fucking annoying. And we had, when the music was happening, some guy came out dressed as a mascot dog. And when he came out, I'm like, oh my God. This fucking segment is so fucking awful. That was my reaction to when I saw this shit tonight. It's fucking garbage. This was garbage. So, the dog that was on the other Titantron keeps yelping. The mascot dog ends up coming into the ring. Yeah, Corbin, Dolph, and Roode laugh at this. So Corbin ends up asking the mascot dog if he knows any tricks. So Corbin has the mascot dog make him take a knee. He ends up making the mascot dog, the guy dressed in that dog costume or whatever, take a knee and bow at Corbin. And mascot dog ends up sitting on his knees, and Corbin, Roode, and Dolph get boos from the crowd. That's how this fucking awful, atrocious, cringy segment ended. Could not believe what I was watching. Fucking garbage. Absolute shit of a opening to SmackDown tonight. Right from when I knew, when I heard Corbin's music hit, I'm like, oh, we're in for a long 2 hours. So what's next? They're going to do this now next week? Corbin's going to kick off SmackDown next week? I would not be surprised if WWE kicks off SmackDown next week with Corbin once again. We got to hear the annoying Chihuahua yelping for Roman's, mask, for Roman's little dog that he has on a Titantron. Then we have Mustafa Ali. First match, Mustafa Ali, Chad Gable versus Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. Tag team match. It was meh, in my opinion. Did not even care for it. Mustafa Ali, Chad Gable win the match. Chad Gable ended up pinning a suplex, a German suplex. Tagged in Ali. Mustafa Ali went for the 450 on Dolph. So there you go. Mustafa Ali and Chad Gable end up winning the match. Very meh match, in my opinion. Then we had the Firefly Funhouse. This was cool to see. It was very short, but it was possibly, the best thing on this show, aside from, NXT invading, the Undisputed Era, which I'll get to. Undisputed Era, the NXT woman, and Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan. So, well, this actually counts as that. So, but Firefly Funhouse. Bray Wyatt ended up starting it off by saying something's not quite right. And he is in a magician outfit. He magics himself into a magician outfit. He then has the Universal title, the Universal Championship. It was still red, and he ends up changing it, doing like a magic act, changing the Universal Championship from red to blue, having a blue strap for the title. And I gotta admit, the blue on the Universal Championship looks a lot better than when it was red, because when it was red, it looked like stupid fruit roll up, fruit by the foot looking championship. So I like the blue. I like the blue better than when it was in red. So Bray Wyatt ended up saying that the Fiend will be watching Daniel Bryan tonight, and Bray says, "Oh, he'll see us later." So that was that. It was a little Firefly Funhouse thing, but I liked it. Like I said, I like the blue on the Universal Championship. Even though there was stuff that was online saying that there was like a custom made belt for Bray Wyatt, and with the red on the Universal Championship, it said the Fiend on it. I thought that actually looked a lot good and better, but still, the blue on the Universal Championship, I like it. Then we had Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman ended up coming out. You had the B team and Drew Gulak in the ring. Gulak ends up telling Strowman to relax, and that the B team are here to learn. Gulak says to Strowman that this week his PowerPoint presentation is very simple. And it's about what would happen if he were to replace Strowman on Team SmackDown. He says he would save the day. And he says that Strowman lasted longer against Tyson Fury than he expected. But he still has lessons left to learn. So Strowman ends up bending Gulak's finger, and then we had Gulak, Bo Dallas, and Curtis Axel beat down on Strowman. Strowman, of course, then fighted all three of them off. Ended up, hitting the splash to Curtis Axel, a stinger splash to Curtis Axel. Laid the big boot to Bo Dallas. Hits the running power slam on Curtis Axel. That was how this ended. But it was garbage. Absolute garbage. I'm like, do I even care what's going on here? No. Just Gulak making a fool of himself. Just WWE burying Gulak even more. I'm like, what are they gonna do? Braun Strowman versus Drew Gulak now? Let's bury Gulak even more. And this was a former cruiserweight champion. Unbelievable. Bring him up from 205 Live just to get buried. Just get buried on SmackDown. Yeah, good job, Vince. Good job. Then you had the New Day. The New Day would be an interview backstage. They said that they're confident that they'll beat the Revival tonight without Xavier Woods. because they say that Xavier Woods is always in their hearts. And then they make their way out for the match against Revival. It was a rematch for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. And SmackDown went to commercial. Then when SmackDown came back, we saw Sami Zayn and Shinsuke Nakamura. They ran into Daniel Bryan. They cost Daniel Bryan. So Sami demands a final answer from Daniel Bryan. And Daniel Bryan ends up telling Sami that if he's sincere and he has his back, why did Sami run away when the Fiend was choking him out last week? Sami ends up telling Daniel Bryan that he ran for a couple of reasons, including that he thought Daniel Bryan was right with him. Daniel Bryan ends up saying that he doesn't need his help. He doesn't need Sami's help. And he's not joining the group with him and Nakamura. With Sami Zayn and Nakamura. Daniel Bryan says he agrees that Sami needs someone else. And he has the perfect person. And then, lo and behold, Braun Strowman is behind Sami Zayn. And Sami Zayn acts as if Daniel Bryan is joking. And he says that Strowman is just big and strong and not an artist. And so then Strowman is right behind Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn ends up begging off, walking away, pulls Nakamura away from Strowman. And pretty much that was that. And then we had the New Day versus the Revival for SmackDown Tag Team Championships. This was a pretty okay match, in my opinion, but the ending to the match was, it was cool to see. The match ended in a disqualification because the Undisputed Era ended up coming out. Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, Roderick Strong. They came out. They ended up taking down both the New Day and the Revival. And they ended up running away because the SmackDown roster came out. Undisputed Era made their way into the crowd, jumped over the barricade and went into the crowd. And pretty much basically that was it. But it was cool to see my boys there, the Undisputed Era, my favorite stable in NXT. But it was really cool to see them tonight. I actually got to meet Adam Cole this past Sunday. He was at an Evolve show. I went to the show. It was a pretty decent. It was a pretty good show. Got a pic with Adam Cole, which I am going to show you all. It was a pretty cool picture. Very nice guy, Adam Cole was. I said to him that the Undisputed Era is my favorite stable in NXT, and I hope they stay together as a stable for a long while. And Adam Cole was like, I hope so too. But a very cool guy that Adam Cole was, that I met him for that short, maybe minute or two, because he had a line, of course, of fans waiting to meet him. So I'm going to post that picture right here in the video. So here's the photo. So there's the photo of me and Adam Cole from last Sunday when he was at the Evolve show. Tommaso Ciampa was also there, which got to meet him at the previous Evolve show that I went to, because he was there with Gargano and Candice LeRae. Already met Gargano back in January. And Tommaso Ciampa, very nice guy, very cool. Candice LeRae, she's a sweetheart. But yeah, so it's like I saw Adam Cole, all this week. I saw him at Evolve, met him at Evolve, watched him on NXT, and now tonight on SmackDown. It was pretty much like I seen him, 3 times. I seen him 3 times this week, except for when I met him on Sunday. Just the 2 times I met him. Just the 2 times I saw him on TV this week. So, but yeah, like I said, it was pretty cool to see the Undisputed Era tonight on SmackDown. All in all, the match itself, the New Day versus the Revival, was pretty okay, even though it ended in a disqualification. Then we have Heavy Machinery versus these locals of Francis Kip Stevens and Kevin Tibbs. I think that's how you pronounce the guy's last name. This was a tag team match. Squash match. Heavy Machinery end up winning. Compactor on Francis Kip Stevens. There you go. It was a squash match. Moving on. We had Bayley and Sasha Banks. They were being interviewed backstage. Bayley ends up talking about how beating people brings her joy and how happy she'll be to crush Nikki Cross's dreams. So Sasha accuses Nikki Cross of blaming her for her woes. And Bayley ended up saying maybe she'll join Team SmackDown after she beats Nikki Cross tonight. So that was the interview from Bayley and Sasha Banks. Then we had the match, which was a rematch, Bayley versus Nikki Cross, like we've seen this last week. But the match never really got underway because Shayna Baszler, the NXT Women's Champion, came out. She comes into the ring. Bayley ends up getting out of the ring, heads over the barricade, and we see the NXT woman come from the crowd. We had Dakota Kai, Mia Yim, Rhea Ripley, Tegan Knox, all came. And Rhea Ripley dumps Bayley to the floor with a slam. Sasha Banks ends up blindsiding Shayna Baszler. And the SmackDown Women's Division comes down to make the save. We had a brawl between the SmackDown Women's Division and the NXT Women's Division. And Sasha ended up getting on the mic. She ended up saying that if NXT wants the spotlight, let's have a match right now. So SmackDown went to commercial. Then when it came back, we had an 8-woman tag match. It was Carmella, Dana Brooke, Nikki Cross, Sasha Banks versus Dakota Kai, Mia Yim, Rhea Ripley, and Tegan Knox. And this was a pretty decent women's match. With NXT being involved, of course, Survivor Series, Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT. I like how WWE is building up for Survivor Series with all 3 of these brands. And seeing Rhea Ripley and Tegan Knox, Mia Yim, Dakota Kai here, it was just really awesome. But in the end, Carmella, Dana Brooke, Nikki Cross, Sasha Banks ended up winning. Nikki Cross ended up hitting the spin neck breaker on Dakota Kai. So you go, the SmackDown division, women's division, ends up winning the match. Post-match, you had the NXT woman hit the ring, we had a brawl, and the SmackDown Women's Division came from the back. We had a brawl. But all in all, fun 8-woman tag match. NXT woman being involved. Then we had Miz TV. This was the last thing of the night. The Miz ended up making his way out from Miz TV. Talks about the Bray Wyatt, Daniel Bryan stuff that happened last week. And Daniel Bryan ends up coming out. The Miz ended up introducing Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan came out. And the Miz asks why the Miz asks Daniel Bryan why he thinks the Fiend attacked him. Daniel Bryan did not say anything. He was silent. The Miz admits that they both don't like each other because, of course, the Miz and Daniel Bryan, have a history with each other. They don't, like each other. And the Miz says he's just trying to get to the bottom of this. And the Miz offers his own theory of why the Fiend attacked Daniel Bryan. The Miz says Bray Wyatt sees Daniel Bryan's mental instability and that he's washed up and he wants to be the one to end Daniel Bryan. So that pisses off Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan ended up getting up. Daniel Bryan says that he'll talk about Bray Wyatt in a second. Daniel Bryan tells The Miz that the reason that he was quiet is that he ends up saying that Miz TV sucks and has always sucked. So Daniel Bryan says The Miz is right. He's not the Daniel Bryan he was 10 years ago. And he's not the leader of the Yes movement. He says maybe he's washed up and he's for sure mentally unstable. He says one thing is the same as before, and that is the passion. Daniel Bryan says the passion that had him overcome the odds and main evented WrestleMania. And that gave him to come back after 3 years off. So the Miz ended up trying to cut Daniel Bryan off. Daniel Bryan ended up yelling at the Miz to shut up, saying that the passion combined with the mental instability caused him to abandon the Yes movement and kick a man in the balls to win the WWE Championship. So he ends up saying that the Miz can't understand that, but Bray Wyatt does. So we had the Firefly Funhouse intro come on. Bray Wyatt's shown. Bray Wyatt calls Daniel Bryan out for talking about him while he's not there. And Bray Wyatt says, maybe the Fiend was trying to scare Daniel Bryan. Or remind him, or maybe, that Daniel Bryan just wants to play. So, Bray Wyatt says, yowie wowie. And he has a toy box. He opens the toy box, pulls out everything in the toy box, and he finally gets the Universal Championship out. Bray Wyatt says that the Universal Championship is his favorite new toy. And all Daniel Bryan has to do to play with it is say one magic word. So basically, Bray Wyatt was trying to get Daniel Bryan to say yes, yes, yes. The yes chants. So Daniel Bryan ends up saying no. And we had, all the other Funhouse, guys, puppets there. They were answering yes one by one. And Daniel Bryan ended up saying that he's not going to go back and play with puppets because he's not a puppet. And he says whoever attacked him clearly has a problem. So if he wants a fight, he ends up telling Bray Wyatt, "Oh, let's fight." And Daniel Bryan says if they're going to do it, let's have a match. And the Universal Championship will be on the line. Sorry about that, but I was saying, Daniel Bryan was like, oh, he wants, a match with Bray Wyatt or The Fiend if the Universal Championship is on the line. So Bray Wyatt ends up, thinking about it. And then Bray ends up going, yes, 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 yes. Bray Wyatt ends up saying that constantly until, the Firefly Funhouse intro came on, or closing. And, The Miz is like, okay, there we go. It's going to be The Miz versus The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, for the Universal Championship at Survivor Series. So there. We're going to get that match at Survivor Series. And pretty much, basically, that's how SmackDown ended for tonight. But garbage show it was. Shitty show. But anyways, that's it for the SmackDown review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. And definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. And until the next video, I'll see you all later.